Guys, this is the great story of a founder who built a tool for himself. He ran his own trucking company in Atlanta, had 20 trucks. He made 15,000 top line per truck, 5,000 net, ended up selling that business for a 3x EBITDA multiple because he got excited about the software, the compliance software for trucking companies. He now has over 700 trucking businesses signed up, which equals 1,400 drivers. They pay on average $300 per year, but that's just the recurring fee. There's another $300 per year they make per driver on one-time fees. So call it around $1 million run rate today. He's hoping to break 3 million this year, up from 750,000 done in 2022. Hey folks, my guest today is Karam Chandani. He is the founder and CEO of a company called FleetDrive360.com. He's a tech leader with a track record of over 25 years in the space, now working on this comprehensive cloud-based solution to manage FMCSA and DOT compliance. So explain that in a second. You ready to take us to the top?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, what is FMCSA and DOT compliance?
So every trucking company, they have to follow certain guidelines. FMCSA is Federal Motor Carrier Administration, and DOT is the Department of Transportation. So if you have a trucking company or you are driving a commercial vehicle on the road, you need to follow certain guidelines, put by FMCSA. Mm-hmm. And what we have done is we have put together a consolidated one-stop shop platform for all the trucking companies to basically fulfill the requirement laid out by the FMCSA.
And do you charge based off number of trucks they're managing or something else?
A number of drivers.
Oh, interesting. And so how many drivers are on the platform today?
So right now we have about 1,400, and we actually launched this product last year in August. And since then we have been consistently getting about 200 to 300 customers every month.
Okay, new customers per month. And is that new drivers, or can one customer have 10 drivers?
One customer have multiple drivers. So we have few customers have 10, 20, 15 drivers as well.
What does your largest customer have in terms of number of drivers?
So right now we have 17 drivers in one customer, but we are actually talking to 3 customers. One customer has 500 drivers. One customer has 2,000, and another customer has about 1,500. So those are kind of enterprise customers for us. And initially, we were just focusing on the individual, called owner operators, which is one single person driving the truck and those kind of things. So we are focusing on that. Now we are actually getting into enterprise space, which is more larger, bigger carriers.
And how many paying customers today?
So we have 670 or about 700 paying customers.
Wow. Okay. So 700 paying customers making up 1,400 drivers. So average of 2 drivers per one customer. So these are mainly small mom and pop like types of driving operations. Last mile delivery, I imagine.
No, this is last mile plus the long haul, which is the first mile. And this is over the road. So you'll be surprised. There are almost 4 million drivers on the road. This is a TAM that we are targeting.
Is that in a specific geography, or is that worldwide?
Just the US.
Wow. Okay. So where are you based? What state?
So we are in Atlanta, but we are actually cater to the entire United States drivers.
Okay, got it. So you're targeting 4 million. You're at 1,400 right now. You've got 700 paying customers. You launched last year in 2022. Take me back to your first customer. How did you get that customer signed up and paying?
So, I actually owned a trucking company myself. So I come from the technology background. I have done 25 years of technology implementation, large, products and stuff like that. And I started trucking company. When I was doing the trucking company, I found that there's no solution to actually manage your compliance. And 7 out of 10 trucking companies go out of business because of the compliance issues. Either they are not safe to operate, or they have any compliance issues. So
when you say you run a trucking company, how many trucks did you have on your balance sheet for your company?
20 trucks at the top.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time. You can see what it changed over the past 88 days and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. So you would actually buy the truck and then you have to make sure they're compliant to actually make money doing deliveries and driving.
That is correct. So you have to have a compliant drivers who actually do the drug and alcohol consortium. You also need to have the vehicle maintenance records. You also need to do a lot of additional things on the safety. You get a DOT inspection on the road, and if there's any non-compliance, they will flag you, and then your safety scores goes, take a hit. So all those kind of things. So when I was doing it, I found that there's no one single solution available. There's a lot of service provider. What they were doing was they were doing manual, like Excel, OneDrive kind of stuff, and I don't get visibility into my trucking company, how I'm doing, whether I'm safe, I'm compliant, I'm not compliant. And there was nobody could actually give me the services. So I created my own small system because every company has to go through the audit within first year. It's called new.
So when did you write the first line of code for Fleet Drive 360? What year?
2020.
Okay, 2020. And then when did you bring on the first paying customer?
It was 2022.
But you were the first customer, right?
No, I sold my company, but I had a few connections, my friends, those started using and they really found it extremely helpful. So they actually brought more customers for me.
Well, wait, real quick. I imagine my listeners are curious about the trucking company. So you sold your trucking company that had 20 trucks, huh?
Yeah.
What would you make an average month on one truck?
It's about, you can make about 5,000 a truck.
And that's net
month.
or gross? That's cash flow net or gross?
It's a net.
And what about gross?
Gross will be about 12 to 15,000.
Interesting. And then the 10K of expenses, those are things like licenses, paying the driver, all that kind of stuff.
That is correct. Yeah, it depends. If you have there's two kind of things. One is the spot market where you actually go on the load mode and get the loads. Other one is the contracted rates. You can make the gross revenue anywhere from 12,000 to 25,000. And when COVID hit, it was like even going up to 30,000 a month.
So these 20 trucks that you owned were all based in Atlanta?
Yeah, my office was in Atlanta, but they were going all across the US. So
did you employ 20 drivers full time on your payroll, or did you let them rent your trucks and then they could do what they wanted?
They were my employees.
Interesting. Okay. So And then where would you get orders from? Like, how would you know you needed to take a delivery to Illinois?
So there are brokers, and they're called the freight brokers. So they
What are the
basically
top
have,
three?
JB Hunt, then TQL, then CH Robinson. Those
Okay,
are the
I'm going to
top
interview.
three.
I'm going to go get all of them. I'm going to interview all of them. Okay, so you get your deal flow, your sales from these freight brokers, and then you deploy your drivers, your 20 drivers.
Right.
Interesting. Now, can you finance the trucks? Like, will someone give you a loan for you to buy the truck and then?
Yeah. So I was leasing most of my trucks and only own few trucks, because leasing, I have to, not worry about the maintenance and truck, repairs and everything. A leasing company takes care of those. So I was leasing rather than buying, but a lot of people buy.
That's included. That lease cost is included in the 10,000 monthly expense per truck, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Then you said you sold this. Again, I only know B2B SaaS. How does a trucking company get, like what you had, get valued?
So it's normally the EBITDA, 3 to 5 times of EBITDA.
Okay.
So
So if you're making 5,000 net per truck multiplied times 3x, you sold your company for something like $15,000 per active truck.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. So
that's
15,000 times 20 trucks, you sold it for around 300 grand, something like that.
That is correct.
Why sell it?
Yeah, because I wanted to focus on the technology, because I found there's a gap there, and this can scale, because I cannot scale my trucking company to 1,000 trucks, right? It's always a lot of overheads running a trucking company, all drivers, insurances, accidents and stuff like that. But this solution, because I saw that people liked it. So I'll tell you one thing. When I did my first audit with the FMCSA, and the auditor came, and he liked my solution so much, he said, I wish everybody had this. And that's where I started thinking, I should build it.
That's amazing. Okay, so what do customers pay you on average today at Fleet Drive 360?
So we have multiple products. We have subscription also to our platform, but then we also have annual recurring products. Then we have one time also, like you can do in-app purchases.
So just looking at the recurring revenue, how much is that? Like, would you say per customer?
About 300 per
year or a month?
Per year.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, can I take 300 times 700 customers? You're doing $210,000 a year.
That's the recurring monthly, right?
Yeah.
But they pay by the driver. So we have 1,400. So 1,400 into 3. That's what you would do.
Oh, so you're doing like 400,000, 500,000 a month in recurring revenue, a year in recurring revenue.
Yeah, it's based on the drivers, so number of drivers. So every driver, there's a recurring fee on the platform.
Interesting. So if you're doing about you're doing about 35, 40,000 a month right now in recurring revenue, but it's annualized. So 500K, 400K a year. How much on top of that do you make off like one-time fees and things like that?
So average sales to customer today is about 500 to 600. And out of which 300 is recurring, which will go towards a recurring, and then the rest is one time.
So it's like a 50-50 split.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. So you'll do more than $1 million in revenue then over the next 12 months?
That is correct. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
2023, 2023, we are targeting actually 3 million with all these big customers, like enterprise customers. So right now, our platform can cater 3 categories. One is the small carriers, which is mom and pop shops. Then second one is the service providers. Like, I was using a service provider who was doing compliance for me. They have their own customers. They can use our platform to support their customers. And the third one is the enterprise, big companies like, JB Hunt or any big, trucking company has 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 trucks. They can use our platform as well.
And if you're targeting 3 million this year, what did you finish with in 2022?
2022, we finished with about 700 to 800.
Okay.
But we started only half of the year, right? We only did from the...
We'll say 750 there. And so have you bootstrapped all this or have you raised capital?
It's kind of bootstrapped, but we did do the debt financing. And, we raised 250K debt, and then also 250K initially, at 6.5 million valuation.
So it was your pre-seed round?
Yeah, kind of.
Interesting. And when you raise the debt, what is the interest rate that you pay on that?
Um, I don't remember. Sorry. I think it's probably in the 10, 8 or 10, something.
How much time do you have to pay it back?
I think we have about 3 years, 3 to 5 years. So
3 years. And was this from a bank or a government or an
no, it's just
independent?
a private owner.
Oh, so it's like a friend of yours that's rich or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I see. Why did he or she want to give you debt instead of equity?
Because they didn't know much about, so I think it was 50-50. So I told you, right, 250 was for the equity and 50%, 250 they gave on the interest. They just wanted to balance it out.
Okay, well that's good. That helps you save a little bit of equity.
Right.
How has the debt worked for you? Has it been good? Will you do more debt in the future, you think?
I would do the debt in future for sure.
More than equity?
More than equity. Yeah,
Why
more
is
than
that?
equity. Yeah, because I think when we start, we know that where we can take this company to, right? Right now it's growing and it's growing very fast. So even if I have to give up certain percentage equity, um, I know it's much more valuable 3 years from now, which I can encash anytime.
Yeah, yeah. Well, FounderPath's got a $150 million fund, and all we do is non-dilutive capital to SaaS founders. So we could give you up to 50% of your ARR at a discount rate, something between 7 and 12%. So we'll chat
That's
afterwards.
awesome.
I'd love to help you out.
Sure, that's awesome.
All right. All right. Tell me more about your teams today. How many folks are full time?
So we we have a offshore development center in Bangalore. My other company like Metromax, we do a lot of IT and BPO. So we have about 7 people developers. We have 7 or 8 salespeople onshore in the US, and then we have about 6 or 7 operations folks.
Okay, so like 20, 22 people, something like that. 6 of them offshore dev shop. Okay,
Yeah.
This makes tons of sense. Now, let me think. What else am I missing here? How do you go? Well, you mentioned you're adding 200 to 300 customers per month right now. That's incredible growth. How are you adding customers?
It's primarily cold calling. So we get the data of all the new companies that get registered, and we cold
Wait, how do you get
them.
that data? Is that public? The government, you're required from a government directory?
They're third party companies who actually provide access to the data, and they collect all the data from different sources.
What's the name of a truck data company that you can get a lot of this data from?
I would say one name that I know is Carrier 411.
Carrier what?
411.
Oh, Carrier 411. And they'll tell you like how many new truck companies are registered in California in the past 30 days.
That is correct.
And then you get their phone number and just call them and say, let's make sure you're compliant. It's $300 a year per driver.
Yeah, and it's mandatory, right? Because they also know that once they get into the trucking industry, they need to do the compliance. It's part of it. Within 6 months, they're going to get audited. And if they don't have the information, there will be, kind of shut down operation, or they will have, certain. Yeah.
So if this is required, I imagine there's a lot of companies doing this. Who's your biggest competitor?
So I would say JJ Keller and Foley Services. Those are my competitors, but they don't have the end.
Say the first one again. What was their name?
JJ Keller.
JJ Keller. Interesting. Okay.
And Foley Services. FOLEY Services.
Huh. Okay. So are they software as well or no?
They have a little bit of platform, but it's more manual. They just manage the processes, but not the platform.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is a heck of a story. We hope you hit your 3 million target this year and hit that big growth rate and keep using non-dilutive capital to keep your equity. We're out of time here though. Let's wrap up with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
0 to 1.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
My all-time favorite is Steve Jobs. But right now I'm following, Warren Buffett.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building Fleet Drive?
So we use the Microsoft Team a lot.
Yep. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
About 5 or 6.
And situation, married, single, kids?
Married with 2 kids, one in college, one in high school. 2 teenagers.
Amazing. That's amazing. And how old are you?
I'll be turning 50 this August.
Very cool. So 49 years young. Last question, something you wish you knew when you were 20.
I should have started when I was in 20. I started very late.
Guys, this is the great story of a founder who built a tool for himself. He ran his own trucking company in Atlanta, had 20 trucks. He made 15,000 top line per truck, 5,000 net, ended up selling that business for a 3x EBITDA multiple because he got excited about the software, the compliance software for trucking companies. He now has over 700 trucking businesses signed up, which equals 1,400 drivers. They pay on average $300 per year, but that's just the recurring fee. There's another $300 per year they make per driver on one-time fees. So call it around $1 million run rate today. He's hoping to break $3 million this year, up from $750,000 done in 2022. It's fleetdrive360.com.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.